video addresses another sleeve alteration that some women need, and if you need it, you know it, and I had always needed it my whole life. It's one reason I explored the square armhole for myself and found a fit that felt pretty good. But for some of our stitchers who are using our pattern, there's still not quite enough sleeve, enough width in the upper body of the sleeve. And if that is the case, it's going to pull against your body, especially when you move, and you're going to want to correct that if you know that you need it. So the video shows you two ways to add width to the upper sleeve. Many people need it all the way down through the elbow and sometimes almost to the wrist in order to get a really nice amount of movement within the garment. So watch the video. Think about which one is best for you. One is very simple, and it's just to add just a tiny little bit. So it could be that while the sleeve looks pretty good on you, it still feels a little tight when you move. You might want to try that first effort. The second one shows you a way to add a little bit extra, even up to a couple of inches into the width of the sleeve, and I would recommend you do that. I'll also tell you we're working with one of our friends, Marie, to see about adding maybe even more width in different parts of the sleeve. And as soon as we have that information, we'll be sure to let you know. But this video will get you started. If you need extra width in the top of your sleeve, even if you just want it, even if you feel like I just need a little more room up there, then make this adjustment and your pattern will feel better and it will look better because you feel better. So on our sleeve pattern here that we have added cap to for the sleeve to hang better, we're going to look at two different ways to add a little extra width into the sleeve. The sleeve is fairly full-bodied, but some people find they need a little bit of extra room in the circumference of the sleeve in the upper arm. And so there are two different ways you can do that. If you only need a little bit of extra room, and this is for the Tabula Rasa jacket, you can do these also on the Opus. The Opus, again, has a little bit larger sleeve and it sits off the shoulder, not right at the shoulder. So the fit is a little different, but the same alterations will work if you need a little bit of extra in your sleeve. Now, here we're going to do the easiest one, and that is to just sort of cheat the amount here in the arm, in the underarm, in order to make the adjustment, a little bit of an adjustment. And often if you need a little extra in the sleeve width, you need it almost all the way into the elbow, which is going to be down in this area. So you might want to put enough paper in. You can always take it out if you don't need it all. And this is your given. You don't want to change this because this, if you change this, it will require you to change the side panel, and sometimes it's easier to try to make your alterations without having to do an additional alteration on an additional pattern piece. So I would say that we're going to come here. So here's your 5/8 inch, 5/8 inch, which is where your side panel and sleeve seam are going to come together. So if we start here, not changing, and then we head down, and we have a little curve, but not quite as much of a curve as you would. And as you see, I'm putting these little dots here. This is giving you about 3/4 inch 3/8 up here in the top of the sleeve. And if you do that twice, that's a total of 3/4. So if you just need a little bit more room, this might get you what you need. And then you want to try to get the curved ruler. This is always tricky, and my camera stand is in the way. I'm going to shift this here just a little to see if we can't get a little bit of the right angle. All right, so that gives us what we need, and we're going to come here just a tiny bit to get ourselves started. You can just do this freehand if that's easier for you. And for many people it is. And then we're going to come down here and try to get the rest. I'm going to move the sleeve, not the ruler. I have all these other things happening here. Let's see if we can find that. There we go. That's going to get us there a little bit further. Just do it in small increments as you can line them up. And then as we come back down to the bottom of the sleeve, you're going to want to make sure you have that, you come in nice and gently so you have a nice blend. So you're just going to do that on both sides, and that's going to, sometimes I just take this and flip it over to the other side. We're not going to do that today because I'm going to show you on the other side how to do this for a little bit extra room, a little more room than you might have already had. So we're going to pull this sleeve over here, and I have another piece of paper I'm going to lay here. But this requires even a slash and spread of the seam itself. This is one method of alterations we don't use very often, but it really works well for this sort of adjustment. So I'm going to draw my 5/8 inch seam line here on the bottom of the sleeve all the way across so that I can cut it away, and I'm going to hinge it. So I'm going to mark my 5/8 inch there, and I'm going to cut to here, from here to here, and then hinge there, sort of like we did on the round back adjustment if you watched that video. So I'm going to cut this here, and I'm going to have to move this completely to, maybe we'll work from the other direction so I can actually see what I'm doing. Alright, so here we have our hinge. We've cut our hinge in the sleeve, and I'm going to lay some paper here, and I want you to see how nicely this is going to add into this upper arm, which is a place where many people do have a little bit of trouble getting a fit that feels comfortable for them. So we're going to just tip this away away from the sleeve, okay? And we're going to decide how much we want to add in there. And I find that I would say this is about 1/2 inch, and I think about 1/2 inch is a good amount. This is, we're changing the underarm seam, so we will not have to alter it anywhere else because the underarm seam will make the two match. So I'm going to just tape this down on each side. Okay. And now you were going to say, well, you were able to almost give yourself 1/2 inch in that last alteration. That is true. But here, because we have swung out that seam allowance, and that just allows us to keep everything neat and tidy. It's a very excellent method for adjusting. Now you'll see here that we can take the curved ruler and give ourselves a good bit of extra in there if we want it. So we just have to be stable right here, and we can just come, let's give ourselves a little bit more here. Okay, and then as we come down here, this is going to give us almost 1 inch extra up here in the top of the sleeve, and depending on how we lay that, we can get a nice amount coming all the way down the sleeve. So I'm going to just draw this here. We want to remember to get that notch in there, and then come down a little further. Hopefully you can see all that. I'll move this up so you can see. So as you see here, we've still maintained the shape of the sleeve, but we've been able to give ourselves here in the girth of the arm an additional inch, which is a really nice 2 inches in the girth of the arm is terrifically successful for many people. And then you would just cut this out pretty easily. And then you would, again, you would repeat it on the other side. Do the exact same thing. You can't, this sleeve is different on the front and the back through the body of the sleeve. So you can't just cut the sleeve in half and cut it on the fold. You don't want to do that. Our bodies are just different enough that we don't want to do that. But there you see, we've been able to add quite a bit extra by using this method than by using this method. We have a friend of the company, a Marie, who's busy trying to test some other sleeve alterations, and as soon as she's come up with a sleeve she's happy with, we worked on this in our retreat last month. We were together and we were working on her sleeves and trying to get her even more comfortable than she is already. And so we're going to pay attention to how she does it, and maybe we'll bring you that if you're finding that this is not quite giving you enough addition in the sleeve, upper sleeve, to have a comfortable fit in your Tabula Rasa jacket. Again, you can also do this alteration on the Opus, either of these, if you feel like you need to. But the Opus sleeve is already a little bit bigger, and so we hope that this has helped you and it will give you the fit that you are looking for.